Hey tutors, happy Friday. This is Friday, April 20th, Tutor Talk. Today we're going to be talking about 4 different things. I'm going to address unexcused absences and what you need to do if you're going to be absent from your shift. Julie, one of our writing tutors, is going to talk about her experience at the Tutoring Summit last Friday. I'm also going to be talking about 5 things that you can do to help students manage stress during finals, because I know we're gearing up towards finals week, so that's going to be important. And lastly, we're opening up a new forum here on Tutor Talk. So if you contribute to that forum, you could win a prize. So more details about that later. Let's get started. Okay, so in the tutoring centers, we really count on you to be here during your scheduled shift, and so do your students. So it's really important that if you can't be here for your scheduled shift, you have to contact your supervisor and CC me if you're emailing. And if you're calling, make sure that you call both your coordinator, your local coordinator, either Leah or Paul, and me as well, in case one of us doesn't get the message. So it's important to have that kind of backup. Just because, like I said, everybody does count on you, and we need to know if you're not going to be able to be here during your scheduled shift. Okay, so let's not make it a problem. You know, if you do have 2 unexcused absences, that's grounds for termination. So it's really important that you're here during those scheduled shifts. So if you have any questions, you can review the student employee handbook rather on the financial aid page. And if you need a link to that, I will provide one to you. Thanks. Okay, so I'm here with Julie Jacobson, one of our writing tutors up in the Writing Center, and she's going to talk a little bit about what her takeaways were from the Tutoring Summit that we went to last Friday, which was so fun, and we missed you all there. So maybe next year you can come. So Julie's going to talk a little bit more about what she learned and what one of her takeaways was that all of you can use.
Yeah, there was a lot of information, and I went to 3 sessions. They were all on English language learners, but one of the things that I learned was not to ask the tutee, did you understand what I just said? Because they pointed out they'll almost always say yes or nod their head. So a better way to do it would be to ask them, could you explain to me what I just said to you, and give them a chance to explain what you've said, and then you can get an understanding whether they really did understand what you were saying or not. That was one of the main things I picked up.
Great. Okay, so finals are coming up, and that means that students are getting stressed out and they're not managing themselves very well. So when you're working with students when we're coming up to finals, here are some tips to help keep them on track. Number 1, practice time management. That's really important, because as students get really stressed out, a lot of it is because they feel like they've just got too much to do and they don't know when they're going to have time to do it. And sometimes students just have to stop, look at their schedules, and make a plan for when everything is going to get done. One thing that you can do with students in terms of a study skill technique is to take a look at their syllabus or their syllabi and figure out what they have left through the semester. Go through a weekly schedule with them and just kind of help them through making a rough schedule of what they have coming up. Number 2, identify effective learning strategies. So this is a time when you can stop and help students think about what works best for them. Sometimes they are a visual learner, sometimes they're a kinesthetic learner, sometimes they're an auditory learner, sometimes there's some combination of those or something totally different. So this is an opportunity for you to think about different ways that student might receive the materials that they're struggling with. So if they're having trouble reading their textbook, or if they're having trouble studying for their test, maybe you could go and help them find a YouTube video that's relevant to that subject that might explain things in a different way. Maybe you could do some role playing where you ask the student to teach you the material in terms of what they know. And for some students that can be frustrating, but when you teach someone, that's one of the best ways that you can learn new material. So that's a really great way to help the student identify some effective learning strategies that work for them. Okay, next piece of advice. don't cram. Instead, students should be reviewing and reviewing and reviewing. And since we're not actually at finals yet, we still have a few weeks left to go, this is a good time to remind students that they should be reviewing for any final exams that they have. If they're working on research papers, now they should be working on getting things done, and if they're not, then they should probably get on that and get back up to speed in those classes. But cramming is a really bad way to learn. First of all, everything that you learn when you're cramming pretty much goes in your brain for about 24 hours and then it's gone. So if you're really hoping to get something out of that class that you paid hundreds of dollars for, you should definitely not cram and continue to review and encourage students to come back in if they need help reviewing. Okay, so number 4 is to anticipate what's on the test. So you can tell students that if they've had a couple tests with that instructor, and they most likely have throughout the semester because we're getting close to finals, that they can kind of start to feel what the instructor is looking for on their tests and exams. And sometimes instructors will give study aids or study guides for final exams that are coming up. Sometimes they won't, but it's always okay to tell a student that, you can go and see your instructor during office hours or call them or email them if you have concerns about studying for the exam that you've got coming up. Okay, last tip. Number 5 is get help. So if students feel like they're really struggling and they're not grasping the assignment, or they're just getting really stressed out or anxious, there's a lot of different ways that students can get help here on campus. So remind them that they can create a study group, that they can come to the Academic Support Center or the Writing Center or the Math Center, wherever you are, to get help. Also remember that there are other support services on campus like academic success coordinators, personal counselors, disability services, and if you need help referring a student to any of those services, definitely don't hesitate to contact your local coordinator. So Leah, Paul, or myself, if you need help referring a student to outside services, if you think that that's something that they might need. And if you don't feel comfortable addressing that with that person, please don't do that. So yeah, getting help is always really important. Okay, so last but not least, this week we're opening up a forum on Tutor Talk, and to get things going, we're asking our first question: what song best describes your tutoring experience here at St. Paul College? And we are offering a prize to the winner with the best answer. And just to show you that we're not fooling around, I have the prize right here, all wrapped up nicely. Ooh, don't you want it? Yes, you do. So you should answer that question. And if you have topics that you'd like to add to the forum, definitely add those too. If you have any questions about anything that I've talked about in this very long tutor talk, feel free to email them to me or to your coordinator. And I hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you around. Bye.